Hello, everyone. Uh, First of all, I would like to express my warm greetings to all the participants, who are joining, from across the world for this event. And I'm so delighted and I'm so honored to be here and to share, one of the very famous and very, well-known text, the mind training, 8 verses of the mind training text, composed by the Geshe Langri Thangpa. And also, I'm so thankful and grateful to the Sakya friends for inviting me and giving me the great opportunity to share this text with you guys. So, before we even start the text itself, let me give you some background of the text. So, uh, actually, the text, Geshe Langritamba, actually, he is the and he was born and he composed this text around, late 18th century, I guess, and his lineage is directly or connected to the great, Kadamba master Atisha Dipamkara. And this 8 verses mind training is, very well known among all the Tibetan Buddhist traditions, not only the Sakya tradition, not only the Kadamba tradition, but also even in Nyingma tradition and Geluk tradition, Kagyu tradition, and Cholang tradition, all the Tibetan great traditions, they put a lot of emphasis on this text. Although we have, in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, we have more than, I guess, 200, mind training text. Uh, you know, we believe that this the 8 verses of the mind training text is one of the most crucial and one of the most important text because it is, one of the very shortest text of the mind training, and at the same time, although it is a very short, it has a, whole kind of Mahayana approach, from the, one, just, human being, just, normal human being, to until the how to get the enlightenment, how to reach the enlightenment. So all the detail and explanation of the path is included in this, small text. So that's why, it has a, 8 stanzas or eight. It has, 8 stanzas. We call it shlokas, right, in Sanskrit or in Hindi. We have the only 8 shlokas, and each shloka has its own meaning. We will go through each shlokas, very soon. And today I will be using commentary, one of the great Sakya master called Shakya Chokden. And another, commentary that I will be using is, composed by the great Geshe Chakawa. So maybe, these two commentaries are not available in English. So these two commentaries, are very, beautifully explain this, short text. So the great Sakyapa master, Panchen Shakya Chokden, he talked about, the three things in this text. The first one is the purpose of this text, and then second one is the summary of this text, and the third one is the elaborated, detailed explanation of the each and every word. So, uh, what is the purpose of this short and small text, right? So, the purpose of this text is really uh, as a bodhisattva from the Mahayana perspective, from the Mahayana approach, uh, from the Buddhist point of view, especially from the Mahayana point of view, uh, what we need to do is the most important thing that we, as a normal human being, if you really want to get enlightenment, if you really achieve the enlightenment, we need to take the path step by step, right? So, as a beginner, uh, we must have or we must cultivate two things. One thing is the wisdom, and one thing is the compassion, the love. We also call it the bodhicitta. So, by practicing these two, the wisdom which knows or which sees the reality, the truth, at the a union with the wisdom, the compassion, the love, the bodhicitta. These are the two main wings by which we fly to the sky, right? So through which we try to get the enlightenment. So in Mahayana Buddhist tradition, wisdom and compassion or love or bodhicitta, whatever we can call it. So the union of the practice is extremely, extremely emphasized in all the Mahayana texts and also in, the Tantrayana text as well. So as a beginner, so as a follower of the Mahayana path, what we really need to do is how to really change our perspective and towards other as well as towards the situations and towards the area, towards the everything, I guess. So in order to really change the perspective, right? As a human being, normal human being, our daily approach to the oneself and to the others and to the situation is very much egoistic, ego oriented. We also call it, right? We approach ourselves from ego point of view. I'm the best. Other one is, not really good. Other people are bad. This situation is good. This is bad. This is that. Based on our own egoistic approach, we we make a judgmental. We do a lot of judgments in our life. So, from Mahayana point of view, from the wisdom point of view, that is not really accurate approach, right? So we need to really transform that perspective into the pure perception, we can also call it. So what is the pure perception? We will discuss on the text. So let's begin with the first stanzas, right? The first stanza that the Geshe Langri Thangpa, who is the great, great, great practitioner of the Mahayana tradition, he says that by thinking of all sentient beings as more precious than a wish fulfilling jewel, for accomplishing the highest aim, I will always hold them dear. So, in this stanza, what he's really talking about is, cherishing and caring for other is the source of the real contentment, real happiness. So, uh, how, so let's talk about how loving other people, cherishing other people is the source of happiness, source of the, the spiritual contentment. So here, without having the background, understanding it could be a challenging to really understand the meaning of this text, right? So that's why we need to understand the scenario, the background, why Mahayana people, why from the Mahayana point of view, cherishing other people or loving other people or caring other people is the source of the the joy and source of the spiritual contentment. So, as a Mahayana practitioner, my priority or my ultimate aim is to get enlightenment. So, getting enlightenment oneself, not only for oneself, but also for entire being, right? So, one's entire being, get awakened. Then, as a Mahayana practitioner, my ultimate aim or my ultimate goal is accomplished. So, what is the meaning of getting enlightenment or to be awakened, right? So, getting enlightenment is to see the reality, to know the reality, or experience the reality of oneself as well as the reality of others and the reality of everything. That is the getting enlightened. That is the meaning of the be awakened. So how can we, accomplish this? So from the Mahayana point of view, or from the Mahayana point of view, uh, all the sentient beings that we meet, that we encounter in our daily life, the true nature of not only myself, but also the true nature of every being is pure. The true nature of every being is Buddha, right? You might have heard, this statement in so many, Mahayana texts or from the so many Mahayana great practitioners or teachers. So everyone is Buddha. So, meaning here, once we really know that the true nature of my mind is pure, the true nature of not only my mind, but also the true nature of entire being is Buddha, then, you will, I think you will start to understand the first stanza of the being, the meaning of the first stanza, right? How can we cherish, how can we really you know care and love other people, entire being, because the true nature of entire being is pure, and the true not only myself but the entire being is the Buddha. So once you have the view, once you have the that kind of perception, then it will become so easy to perceive other one or other people, even your enemy, as a lovable or adorable, right? So that is the the first meaning of the first meaning of the first stanza. And also the great Sakya Pandit, the Shakya Chodhan, he says that this text has eight stanzas, and first seven stanzas, are talking about the relative bodhicitta, right? So there are two, main bodhicittas, relative bodhicittas and ultimate bodhicitta. So the first seven verses, are dealing with the relative bodhicitta, and the last stanza, and it talks about the ultimate bodhicitta. So, okay, so let's go through the second stanza, right? The second stanza, it says, whenever I'm in the company of others, I will regard myself as the lowest among all, and from the depth of my heart, cherish others as supreme. So, here, the main point that he's talking about is the proper humility, that we really, as a bodhisattva, how we really respect not only the elder people, not only the your teacher or your master or your, I don't know, spiritual friends, but also you have to, you know practice the humility towards the entire being. So here, it is saying that, I will regard myself as the lowest among all. It doesn't mean you should hate yourself, right? You should, lamanticize yourself. No. Of course, we should have, the self-esteem. We should have, kind of self-confidence, definitely. But at the same time, if you know the reality, if you know the Nico, if you have the ultimate wisdom, the true wisdom, then the wisdom tells you that your egoistic approach creates a lot of problem, not only in your personal life but also in your social life, in your I don't know, in your educational life, in your, so many, in your society, the egoistic approach. So that's why, as a bodhisattva who live that, who see that, who experience that, you know, the true nature of everyone is the perfect. The everyone is perfect, and the true nature of the everyone is Buddha. So it's not really enough to intellectually knowing it, right? So the most important, we can definitely intellectually, we can, study, some Mahayana text, and we can go through some Mahayana text. And when you read it, you will intellectually understand that the true nature of each and every one is not really, inherently existent, right? So our ego tells us that I'm the right person and the other one is the wrong person, right? And right and wrong, me and others, mine and others, and beauty and ugly. All this dualistic approach, once you really experience, or once you really see or experience the reality of the true nature of your mind, then all this dualistic approach will dissolve into, the ocean of your mind, right? So by knowing this, by experiencing that in each and everyone is Buddha, at the same time, you can be so, humble. You can be down to earth. I think that is the Bodhisattva approach, right? So, our egoistic point of view, we can be humble to the people, who are, higher than me, who are in the high position than me. Towards them, I can be very humble. But towards the people who are lower than me, I can be very strong. I can be very arrogant, right? So that is the not, Mahayana approach, right? So that's the egoistic approach. The Mahayana approach will be, as it said in this second stanza, so I will regard myself as the lowest among all, meaning by knowing the reality, by experiencing that, all this dualistic approach is, one's own perception, right? If you know this, even if, you intellectually know this, forget about, experientially. if you really experientially know that the dualistic approach is not the real, not the reality, then if you really experience that uh, you know uh, the reality, if you experience the reality, or you can also say the emptiness, right? Experiencing or knowing the reality, still you can be a humble, you can be you know down to earth. That is the bodhisattva, right? That knowing the reality, and seeing the situation, seeing the towards the people, how when you go to market, you will see lot of people going here and there. Each and every one is busy for their own, they have their own purpose, right? So each and every one is busy to dealing with, to accomplish their own goals, and the samsaric goals, all those things. So here, so then you will really realize, or seeing those people, you know oh, look at these peoples, how these people are you know caught up with the samsaric, the samsaric things. So i will I will really aspire to help these people, to let them see the reality, even let them experience the reality, right? And for that, first you have to know yourself. You have to experience yourself, the enlightenment, or the emptiness, or the reality. Once you really experience, or know, or experience, or see the reality, then you can share that knowledge with the other people with the great humility, being down to earth, being so humble. I think that is the thing that Geshe Thamba is talking about in the second stanza, right? So it's so beautiful, and it's a very practicable in our daily life. So uh, so beautiful, and heart touching. And let's go through the third stanza. It says, "In my every action, I will watch my mind, and the moment destructive emotions arise, I will confront them strongly and avert them, since they will hurt both me and others." Wow, so beautiful. So here, the main point that Geshe Thamba is talking about, that as a bodhisattva, as a beginner practitioner of the bodhisattva, we need to emphasize, or we need to bring the mindfulness practice in our daily life. That is the main point that he is really talking about. Mindfulness, right? Mindfulness about what? Mindfulness about one's own actions, right? One's own karma that we do in our daily life. We have normally, we have three actions, right? One actions that we do through our mouth, and the other actions that we do through our body. Those two are the physical action, and the most important action that we do through our mind. So these three actions uh, are, once we are not awakened, when we are not awakened, or we have the ego approach, we have the sense of ego, we have prioritized the sense of ego, then all our karma, all our actions become what, problematic, right? Once we transform our ego into the wisdom, and then all our actions become pure, all our action will be saturated by the sense of, the wisdom which sees or which experience the reality. So right now, we are not really enlightened. At least I'm not really enlightened. So my actions, all the three actions that, whatever I speak, whatever I do, and whatever I think are the saturated by my sense of I, the sense of ego. So that's why I have to be so careful and so thoughtful and mindful about whatever I'm saying, whatever I'm thinking, and whatever I'm doing to my body, right? So that's why, as a beginner bodhisattva, Geshe Thamba is saying that since today I will be watching, my all actions, not only for the morning, not only for the evening, not only for the night, but entire day, right? That is called the mindful practice. When you have the mindful, mindful speaking, mindful eating, mindful walking, mindful even working, right? Mindful driving, then your practice, then your actions become very much what do you call it? Virtue, right? We call it geva. If your actions are saturated or mingled with the compassion and wisdom, that is the seed of the enlightenment. That is the the thing that he's talking about here in the third stanzas. Okay, let's move to the fourth stanza. It says, whenever I see ill-naturated beings or those overwhelmed by heavy misdeed or suffering, I will cherish them as something rare, as though I will found priceless treasure, right? So here, Gishelangli Thamba, the writer, the author of this text, he's talking about as a beginner of the Bodhisattva, as a preliminary practice, what we need to do is we need to help others. We need to really create space in our mind for the people, unpleasant people, or unpleasant situation. Normally, as a normal human being, what we do is whenever we meet some unpleasant situation or people, we escape. We just run away. We just don't want to be bothered, or we just don't want to be there, right? That is the normal human being approach. So, as a bodhisattva or Mahayanic approach, instead of running away from the situations, we should really, kind of cherish the unpleasant people or unpleasant situation, or we we should or we must create a space, in our mind for the people, you know, no matter how much he or she is, bad, right? So normally we don't really want to be with the bad people or bad situation. We just want to run away from them, right? So instead of running away, so we should make or we should create a space for the people or for the unpleasant people and situations, so that we can really help them. We can really enlighten them. No matter even if your contribution is extremely small, we should start doing it, because once we start doing it, then definitely we are starting to transform our egoistic approach towards the pure perception that I mentioned earlier. Pure perception, remember, pure perception. That's the you know the whole thing about enlightenment. Enlightenment, or becoming a Buddha, is everything takes place in our inner world, right? So once we really transform our perceptions toward other being, towards ourselves, toward the whole situations, you are enlightened. Even if you are living in a India or Europe or or China or I don't know, wherever you live, it doesn't really matter because you're enlightened. Your perception is changed. You don't have the dualistic approach. You are not really, you are not really part of in this dualistic world, right? Then you will really, practice the compassion when you see other people, running here and there, caught up in this dualistic world. You will really, develop the genuine compassion towards the entire being. So that is the thing that he's really talking about. That is the thing that we need to cultivate. We need to start as a beginner, follower of the Mahayana practitioner or Mahayana path. Okay, let's move towards the fifth stanza. Whenever someone out of envy does me wrong by attacking or belittling me, I will take defeat upon myself and give the victory to others. Wow, so beautiful. So, can we do that? Give all the victories to others and take all the losses and take all the, uh, give victory to others and I will take defeat upon myself. So here, the Geshe Thamba is really talking about uh, he's really talking about the mind training, the actual mind training, right? So here he's saying that whenever someone out of envy does me wrong by attacking or belittling me, so definitely this happened with us so many times in our daily life. We encounter with the so many mm, I should say, so many envy people. Someone yell out us, when you are driving a car, when you are go to a, shopping, when you are, I don't know, walking, here and there, someone just, yell, you, and then, someone just, tells you so very bad things. So, Vishalanithamba, he's saying that. So at that time, how we should really practice, you know, how should we really offer the victory to others and take defeat for oneself? How can we do this, right? So I don't think without having the view or without having the wisdom or without knowing the reality. So even if without having the taste of the reality a little bit, we can't really do it. Our ego tells us you are the right all the time. You should fight for the right? You should go against for someone, if someone is studying bad towards you, and you should go and beat them, right? That's our ego approach. So Geshe Thamba is saying that as a bodhisattva, beginner practitioner of the bodhisattva, so we should offer all the defeat and not we should offer all the defeat, all the victory and good things to the other people, and we should take all the bad and defeat for ourselves. So if you have the taste of the reality, then you can do it, I guess, right? So then definitely you can do it. Otherwise, it's quite challenging, to offer all the victories to others and taking all the defeats for ourselves. I don't think, as a normal person, or without having the Mahayanic approach, without having or without tasting the reality, we are unable to do these things. However, once we have the taste of the reality, yes, even if someone tells you very bad things, very bad words when you are walking to the market, you have the reality, because you know that everything's just their own perception, right? So even if someone tells you ugly or bad boy, bad girl, so once you have the experience of the reality, you can experience, oh, this might be his or her own perception. That doesn't really matter for me to me, right? So once you have the taste of the reality, you can easily let it go. You can easily offer the victory to the other people, or you can take all the defeats for oneself. So that's the bodhisattva practice. I think we need to cultivate. We need to really experientially cultivate, right? By cultivating this, Mahayana preliminary practices, of course, it takes a lot of courage. We need a lot of courage. Otherwise, I don't think we can do it. I don't think we can, offer all the victory to other people and take all the defeats for oneself. Definitely, it needs a lot of courage. And at the same time, it needs a lot of wisdom and merit. That really matters. Merit. You might have heard, Mahayana people talking about a merit a lot. To see the reality, experience the reality, to taste the reality, we need to cultivate a merit. Once you have the cultivate a lot of merits, you will encounter good people, good situation, and you will be able to practice the dharma. That is the Kadamba great masters. They talk a lot about in the mind trainings. Okay, let's move further towards the sixth stanza. In the sixth stanza, the Geshe he says that even when someone I have helped, or in whom I have placed great hopes, mistreats me very unjustly, I will view that person as a true spiritual teacher. Oh my God, so beautiful, right? So same thing. I think here Geshe Langri he's talking about how we should treat to the people to whom we have a lot of respect, we have a lot of hope, and we have helped a lot. But in return, they will mistreat us. They will cheat us. Definitely, this happened with us, with all of us, in all of our lives, right? It happens a lot. It happens a lot, especially if you are in this samsaric world. We meet a lot of people, and then we really with for some people we have a lot of faith and trust, and we help them a lot, and then finally they will mistreat us, they will cheat us, and then we we feel kind of hopeless. So as a bodhisattva, this the great master, he's saying that, oh, as a bodhisattva, you shouldn't feel hopeless. Rather, or instead of feeling hopeless, you should really feel compassion to the people who cheated us, right? Why he or she cheated us? Because of their own defilements, their own ego, their own, what do you call it? The envy, the jealous, the ignorance. They will, the people who cheated you will definitely go through, grief and I don't know, a lot of challenges in the future. So, as a bodhisattva, practitioner of the bodhisattva, we should really, really appreciate them. We should really see them as a true spiritual master. Why? Because of those people, today I'm able to practice the patience. Because of that people who did, you know, who mistreat me, who cheated me, I'm able to really calm myself down. I'm really able to open, more space, for the mistreated people, right? So otherwise, uh, if you are a great practitioner of the Mahayana, I think you can do it. You can definitely do it. You can feel compassion towards the people who really, cheated you, who really, misbehave you. But it's really challenging that I've said before, right? It takes a lot of courage, especially, just letting it go is, a bit easy than seeing them as a spiritual master or spiritual teacher. That is the another level. That takes a lot of courage, right? In our daily life, it happens a lot. But what we do, we yell them, we, tell them bad things about, the people. As a bodhisattva, instead of telling bad, words and bad, things, towards the people who cheated us, we really appreciate them. Because why? Because of their, cheating, today I'm able to practice the the six paramitas, which are the most important practice in Mahayana tradition, right? Okay, let's go through the next one. Stanza number six, no, seven. He says, in brief, directly or indirectly, I will offer health and happiness to all my mothers and secretly take upon myself all their hurt and suffering. Wow. Here, Rishi Lanithamba was talking about, in brief, in short. He will not elaborate, or explain all the details, but in brief, what he's saying that directly or indirectly, I will offer help and happiness to all my mothers. Here he's talking about the Tonglen practice. You might have heard about Tonglen practice, right? Tonglen practice is also, one of the most practiced in Mahayana tradition. Tonglen meaning, Tong means give and Len means take, give and take practice. That we, give all the, good things towards the other people, and we will take all the bad things and suffering of the other people for ourselves. It's a kind of, mind training. It's also a mind training. So he's saying that I will offer help and happiness to all my mothers. How can we do this? Again, the pure background Mahayana approach that, we are following, that we need to know, right? Without having the Mahayana approach, without having the wisdom, without knowing the purpose of the Mahayana, the purpose of this path, I don't think we can do it. You know, even if we try to do for 1 or 2 days, and we will be freaked out, right? And after 1 week later, you will say, "Oh my God, I'm not going to do it. Why should I do it?" Definitely, your ego tells you, right? So once, if you have the Mahayana approach, if you have the wisdom, if you have the what do you call it? if you taste the reality, then everything becomes so easy. Then even offering all the good things to the other people and taking all their sufferings, pains, delusions, illusions, or even that secretly. You don't need to tell everyone that, oh, I'm the very great Mahayana practitioner. I'm doing this for everyone. You don't need to tell it because you know yourself better than anyone else. You don't need to tell, you don't need to bother other people because as long as you're doing it, you are accumulating merit. You are on the great path. You're walking on the path. Although you face a lot of challenges, you can secretly practice the Mahayana approach. At the same time, you can be a normal human being. You don't need to tell, or you don't, you don't need to, tell, announce all the people, right? So that's the, the thing, Geshe-la is talking about in this stanza. And the last but not least, he says, I will learn to keep all these practices untainted by thoughts of the eight worldly concerns. May I recognize all things as like illusions and without attachment gain freedom from bondage. Wow. So here he talks about I will learn to keep all these practices untainted by thoughts of the eight worldly concerns. You might have heard about it. So he's saying that, in the seven stanzas, whatever practices that I'm doing or I will do, I will keep all those practices, without really and containing with the ego, right? If, your practices is saturated or mixed up with the ego or jealousy or pride, then it doesn't become a virtue. It become a non-virtue, right? So you are doing for yourself, me, others, mine, others, right? So your practices should be saturated or mixed up with the wisdom and the great compassion. That is the thing he's talking about. Untainted by thoughts of the eight worldly dharma, eight worldly dharma. And also we sometimes, in some text, you will see them as eight laws of the world, things that we care most about, right? So what are the eight, worldly concerns? Gain and loss, right? We really try to gain something and we don't want a loss too. And please and pain, we want to be pleased and we don't want pain. And the five, fifth and sixth, fame and disgrace. Everyone want to become a famous. No one really want a disgrace, right? And then last seven and eight, praise and blame. Everyone wants praise, but no one wants a blame. So, uh, from the Mahayana point of view, a normal human being is caught up in these eight worldly dharmas: gain and loss, please and pain, fame, disgrace, praise, blame. Whatever we do, are mixed up with these eight things. So he's saying that the practice that I have done before, I will definitely not will mix up with these eight worldly dharma. Rather, may I recognize all things as like illusion, meaning may I experience that everything is their own perception. Everything is made up our own mind. We make things, right? That's why he's saying that may I recognize all things as like illusion. Once you see or once you experience, once you realize, that all this dualistic approach is created by our own mind, then you will definitely, it will definitely give you some mental or psychological or emotional or experiential relaxation, which is we need today, right? Everyone is suffering from the loneliness. Although we are living in the middle of the million or billions of people, we still feel loneliness. In order to overcome from the loneliness, you should see or experience the true nature of yourself. Then I think you will praise or appreciate the loneliness. And he said, without attachment, gain freedom from bondage. Wow, so beautiful. And without attachment, without having a desire or attachment for my own practice, I will, gain a liberation from all this dualistic world. So beautifully, explained or beautifully, elaborated by Gishelang Thamba. So I think, yeah, this is the end of the text. So this text is again, the main thing, that is emphasized or taught in this text is the practice of the cultivation, the uh, the cultivation of the bodhicitta mind, the cultivation of the compassion, love, and cares, union or mixed up with the wisdom, right? That is the thing that, as a beginner of the bodhisattva, we need to, start to practice. And that is the practice which we need to you are required to do the amount of practices which are the emphasis on the compassion and wisdom, right? That we need to develop, by practicing it. So then, we will be able to understand the actual practice. What is the deity? What is the medicine? What is the dara, right?